Hi, welcome back to Call to the Home. Today we're going to begin a new series called Survival Cleaning. There are a couple of different audiences this series might be helpful to, but let me give you the basis of it. The idea behind this series is to help you know what areas in your house do you need to focus on, and thereby what can you ignore if you are suddenly ill. You just had a baby, you broke your arm and you can only use one arm. You're kind of down for the count with a lot of cleaning and normal care for your home that you would do. Or flip that, maybe you're not in survival cleaning. Maybe you're just getting started cleaning. You hadn't been taught how to clean your house, or you've been so busy you just let it slide for maybe a couple years. And I've just woken up to the realization that maybe we should get on top of this. Maybe it's not okay to let the house look like it's a mess. And so, regardless of what situation you are in, I hope that this series is helpful to you as we tackle some core aspects of keeping your home clean so that you can have a home that glorifies and honors God by demonstrating your care of the resources He has entrusted you with. I want you to meditate on that thought for a moment and consider Scripture. What kind of care are we demonstrating when God has entrusted us with a home, with the objects within the home? What kind of care towards the family God has given to us are we demonstrating when we let it fall into disarray? We let it be a mess. We leave garbage everywhere. It's physically unclean. There's pathogens all over the place. No sanitation is happening. It's cluttered. Nobody can see anything, find anything, or walk anywhere. Is that the way God directs us to live? It isn't. And so this is a spiritual issue. What your home looks like is a reflection of what's going on in you, inside you. It may be that you have wrong priorities and you have so overloaded your schedule that you're too busy to clean. God never puts on your schedule more than what you can reasonably do. So if you're not able to take care of the things that God has given you, the home that God has given you to help love and guide and disciple your family in, then you have put things on your schedule that are not from God. So think about that for a minute. Let's just wipe away all excuses and be real with ourselves. However, all of that being said, you have to start somewhere. Maybe you're realizing you need to have some good strategies under your belt. You need to make some changes in this area. You can't just tackle everything. You can go on Pinterest and you can find all of these lists of schedules and things to clean and checklists. But I promise you all it's going to do is stress you and make you overwhelmed. So start with one thing. I'm going to do my best to release an episode each week over the next couple of weeks. Each week, join me in just tackling that area. Get really good at that area for those 7 days. And then the next time, tackle the next one. And so in that way, after the end of the month, you'll have tackled many areas in your home, those that are most significant and will have the greatest impact for the time that you've invested. In today's episode, the first in the series, we're going to talk about the dishes. And as we begin, I have to just lay the groundwork here. In our household, we have 7 people. So not a huge family by any means, but certainly not small either. We do not do any disposables. So if you're a disposables household, that's fine. I don't do it for 2 reasons. And you can just think about these as well. Number 1, it's expensive. Add up in 1 year's time how much money you have spent on paper plates, paper bowls, paper cups, disposable utensils, napkins, and paper towels. And then multiply that by the number of years until your kids have grown up and left the house, or number of years you plan to be in that house. And there is your budget for not having to wash things. Now you can also do the math and see how much money does it cost to run your dishwasher once a day. I guarantee you it is much cheaper to run your dishwasher once a day than to buy that many dishes, at least for a family of my size. And so we don't do that. Now, the second reason is generation of waste. God, in the way He's designed the world to work, does not waste anything. Everything is used many times, over and over and over and over again, basically to infinity. And so we want to replicate that as much as we can in our lives. Now, there are some things that are unavoidable, and no, I'm not going to feel guilty if somebody brings me a pack of paper plates and we then use them and throw them away. I will use them. It's okay. But as a rule, I don't want to set up habits in my household and in my family that aren't godly habits, that don't accurately reflect who God is and how He works. And so I don't want to generate a bunch of garbage that then gets in a plastic bag, gets thrown in a landfill, which is also lined with plastic, covered with more plastic, and covered with dirt. It's going to take ages and ages for that finally decomposes and breaks down and gets back out into the environment. Now, I don't believe mankind can stop God's plans. We are not going to destroy the earth and cause, dystopian society future. That's not real. However, we can do some damage, and that's not wise. So, we don't do anything disposable if we can avoid it. And 99% of the time, we have found we can avoid it, even for birthday parties. That means we generate quite a bit of dishes. So tip number one, if you're going to go to a no disposables household and you are going to become this kind of household yourself, you need to have enough of every plate, cup, bowl, spoon, dish, utensil, every cloth napkin, cloth paper towel, that you can go from wake up to bedtime having not washed anything, and you had enough to serve breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, clean up all of the spills. So you need to calculate in your head, that's how much plates you need to have, bowls, cups, spoons, all of those items. Now you can build that up gradually. Maybe don't jump to, if you've been a disposables household, dumping all of that and suddenly switching might be a little bit expensive upfront cost. Step into that a little bit, but that is definitely a valuable move. I will also tell you that from experience, Goodwill has stacks and stacks and stacks of dishes, plates, cups, bowls. Very, very, very cheap. You can get a huge stack of them. They may not all match the other dishes you already have at home, but hey, get a breakfast set. These are the breakfast dishes. These are the lunch dishes. These are the dinner dishes. For just a few dollars, you can make this happen. So it does not have to be expensive. So that's number one. Make sure you have enough dishes. And number two, I'm going to come in and tell you, unless you are in that emergency survival cleaning scenario, you should not go the whole day having not washed anything. So if that is your pattern, again, your schedule's too busy, you've got something going wrong. So how do we address then regular cleaning and care of all of these dishes for our family? When we're cooking 3 meals a day, we're providing snacks, we're providing all of the things that they need to eat so that they have the energy to do the things God's created them to do. So a couple of things that we do in our household, I'm just going to share with you. They may or may not work for you. That's okay. Don't worry about it. But hopefully something's helpful. So since we're on our list here, rule number 3. Every time a mealtime concludes, if you are able to stand up and walk out of your chair and pick up a plate or a cup or a bowl or a spoon, so in my house, roughly age 3 on upwards, you are responsible for your own dishes and own items that you have dirtied at the mealtime. What does that mean? That means if your bottom leaves the chair, you better bring all of your items with you. Younger ones may need to make multiple trips, but you're going to take your plate into the kitchen, you're going to dump and scrape any food off of the plate into the garbage can. You're going to stack your plate on the plate stack on the counter and go back and get the next item. So we do that likewise with all of our plates, our bowls, our spoons, our utensils. Anything that we dirtied at mealtime, we go make sure that any large pieces of food, solid foods, is all in the trash can and we stack that. Countertop organization. My kitchen is small. I know some kitchens are smaller, but to give you an idea, I have literally, count them, 4 cabinets, like 4 little standard cabinets. That's it, period. Top, bottom, left, right, 4 total. It's very small. That means I only have 2 counters, and we're talking 18-inch counter left of the stove, 18-inch counter right of the stove. This is it. So space is on a very big premium. What we do is we have a stack. There's a stack for plates. Even the kids get their plates on the plate stack. There's a stack for bowls. All of the silverware goes directly into the sink. And cups, in our house, we actually have daily cups. So when you get up in the morning, you get your cup. That's your cup for the day. You drink out of that cup today. At bedtime, the cup goes into the sink and gets washed in the nighttime dishwasher run or in the hand wash dishes. And then in the morning, you get a new cup. So we don't go through that many cups because we keep it all day long. Sometimes somebody forgets a cup or wants milk. That's different. Then we might have a second cup. But having them stacked and organized minimizes the counter space that they take up and doesn't make it feel like the kitchen is really cluttered, which makes it feel messy. So that is something that happens immediately following every mealtime. While we eat a meal, this is for mom as you're cooking and taking care of all of the dinner preparations, lunch preparations. Any pot that you have cooked things in that might have residue on it, any mixing bowl that you've made a batter in that has residue in it, you do not sit down to eat until you've got that soaking in the sink with some water in it. That way, when dinner is over and everybody's helping to kind of put away all of the dishes into the dishwasher, get them into the proper stacks, you're hand washing all of those items and they come clean very easily. You don't want the food to dry on it. So tip number 3, we don't want food to dry on anything. We rake it off, we rinse it off, we take care of it immediately. All right, tip number 4. Everything that can go in the dishwasher goes in the dishwasher immediately after every meal. So some little ones maybe can't load the dishwasher and organize it efficiently. So that's not their job. They get it onto the counter, into the stack. Good job, little one, you did it. The older ones can do this, or if it's just you, you can do this. Once the dinner is done, we clear all the food off the table. We put the leftovers into the fridge, all neatly marked. We've talked about that before. We now just put all of the plates into the dishwasher, bottom rack, bowls and cups on top, load in the silverware, and it's ready to be run either when it's full or we hit one of our 2 markers. So if it's full, regardless of when in the day it is, you've got to run it because that means half of your household's dishes for the day are dirty and can't be used. So if it's full, go ahead and run it. If you've loaded and it's not full, in our household with no disposables and 7 people, my dishwasher runs twice a day. If you have fewer people, or you maybe say, hey, we're going to do disposables for lunch and we'll just do glass and things for breakfast and dinner, you might only need to run it once a day. Up a second and say, you can't leave dirty dishes in your dishwasher for lots of days and not expect mold and pathogen growth. You're actually going to make yourself sick by using your dishwasher that way. So if your household is so small or your use of real dishes is so little that you can't fill up the dishwasher, you need to run it at least every other day, unless it's empty. Every other day. If there's dishes in there today, then by the end of the day tomorrow, it's got to be run regardless of whether it's full or not. That's just to keep pathogen growth down so that it doesn't have bad things happening. So then, once your dishwasher has been loaded, whether it's full or not, in my house after lunch and when I go to bed, the dishwasher has to be run. Why? Because I need sometimes some of those items for the dinner preparation. The kids have favorite cups, favorite plates, favorite spoons, things like that. Or maybe you're not quite stocked up on your dishes that you have enough to run for what you need for the next meal. I want my dishwasher empty when I have dinner on the table so that when dinner is done, we have room to put all of the dinner dishes in it. So in my house, we run into the problem of I might not fill the dishwasher between breakfast and lunch, but I certainly can't fit dinner dishes in it if breakfast and lunch dishes are still in it. And we don't want to leave dishes on the countertop overnight. You get up in the morning, everything should be clean, countertop's empty. It helps give you a good fresh reset for the day. So after lunch, full or not, we run the dishwasher. We let it open. Once it's done, it air dries out. Before dinner, then, the habit is you have to go ahead and unload. So before I even start cooking, either one of the kids or I am unloading the dishwasher, making sure it's dry and empty and ready to receive the dinner dishes as they are produced. Then at night, when I go to bed, last thing we do is we run the dishwasher Best practice not to run it while you're sleeping. They can catch on fire. Don't freak out too much about that. Have good smoke detectors. But typically, once the kids go to bed, I'll run the dishwasher so that it's done by the time I'm going to bed. And I can open it and let it air dry out overnight. Where I live, it's really humid. And at this point in the year, it's pretty warm, still in the 80s. And so mold growth is a pretty big issue if we don't make sure that it completely dries in between sessions. We'll come back to that in a second. All right, tip number 5. There are some dishes that should not go in the dishwasher. There are some things that are so big it's not efficient to put them in the dishwasher. These must be hand washed, and you need to do them throughout the day. Best practice while you're cooking. Don't wait until the end of the day to do that because then you have a sink full of dishes. You're already tired, and now you've got a sink full of dishes on top of it. It doesn't help your stress level or your mood. Your body, calorie-wise, doesn't care whether you wash the dishes in the morning, middle of the day, or the evening. But you mentally, emotionally, kind of lose it when the dishes are full in the sink at the end of the day. So for your own sanity, spread that out throughout your day. Why should some things not go in the dishwasher? Let me give you my 2 things, and you can disagree with me, but I'm just going to put it out there. If it's plastic, because yes, I do still have a couple plastic items, it should not go in the dishwasher. The way that the dishwasher works is it heats water up really hot, mixes it with detergent, which is not soap, and sprays it all over the dishes so that the detergent can remove the food, fats, and oils from the items. The hot water would kill any pathogens, and then it runs clean water through, sprays it on everything, rinses it off, and that's it. If you've ever opened a dishwasher quickly after it has finished, it's really hot. Plastic and heat are not okay together. Heat causes plastic to degrade, to leach, to break down, to get into the water supply. Even though you aren't drinking the water that comes out of the dishwasher, that water goes into the water drinking system that everybody in your county, city uses. They don't detect plastics. We don't have any way to filter that out, at least not right now. So unless you have an RO system, you just gave everybody in your city a nice dose of plastics in their water. We've already got enough problems with that. Let's not add to it. Now, let's talk for a second about silicone. Silicone is not silicon, the element. Silicone is a plastic made from silicon and a couple other elements. It is not quite in the same category. It's not a crude oil derived, giant organic molecule type of a plastic that what we would consider a plastic to be. However, it is still heat sensitive. It's got a much higher sensitivity point than actual plastic does, the organic-based plastics do. And so I'm okay, I'm comfortable with putting most of my silicone, like spatulas and whisks and things like that, into the dishwasher. Generally, if I can, I hand wash them, but sometimes, especially if you're sick, hey, throw it into the dishwasher. One time is not going to kill you. You have to do what you can to survive. So that's just a quick note on that. Basically, anything metal or glass can go into the dishwasher. You might have a couple of pans and things that might be aluminum, might not be very rust-proof. Those probably shouldn't go in the dishwasher. You probably shouldn't own them anyways. Just throw that out there. But use what you have, do what you have to do. So hand washing is something that occurs throughout the day because we've got plastic items, or the second point I mentioned, you have items that are really big. And while I could fit it in the dishwasher, something like, my really big mixing bowl that I can do like a double batch of bread in, I could fit that in the dishwasher, but if I don't, I now can fit 7 plates in the dishwasher. Which would I rather wash by hand? 7 plates, 1 mixing bowl. You do the math. So there's lots of items I don't put in there because I can hand wash it. It's 1 item, and I can fit 6 or 7 items in the dishwasher that I then don't have to hand wash. So think about that as you're considering how to do your hand washing throughout the day. Now, in my house, the kids have 1 plastic cup and 1 plastic bowl that they use for snacks. That way I don't have to worry about them running around and dropping it, knocking it over, and breaking it. So especially when they're little, under 7, probably a good idea to have a little bit of plastic. There are different kinds. You can get into the science of what kinds to get. There are some that are better than others. The flimsy little thin ones, if you can bend it, probably not a good kind of plastic. to have and be using, it should be some pretty thick, sturdy melamine type plastic. Those are pretty good. And so those we do hand wash because I don't want them in the dishwasher. So one of the kids' chores each day in the middle of the day is to go ahead and do the hand wash of all of the previous day's snack bowls and cups. If you don't have a lot of kids, then you don't need plastic, so don't worry about that. Skip that piece. All right, the next one, let's talk about the sink. So where are we at? Point number 6, the sink. If you do not regularly clean out your kitchen sink, it will stink. This is on you. This is really easy to fix, and it only takes an extra 30 seconds at the end of your daily routine. So, when you are cleaning up the kitchen after doing dinner, or if you did a special dessert that day after cleaning up the dessert, you're going to take your same washcloth that you washed all of your pots and pans, your big mixing bowls with. You're going to take that washcloth and first you're going to clean all of your countertops in your kitchen. For me, that's a pretty quick job because I only have 2. Then you're going to rinse the rag off and you're going to go wipe down the kitchen table. Completely wipe it down. You don't want smudges, spills, anything yucky on it. Then you're going to rinse out your rag and you are going to wipe down your sinks. Wipe down the handle to the faucets themselves, around the edges of the sinks, down into the sink itself, around the drain. Now, if you have sink protectors, those little wire grates that kind of raise the level up a little bit so that you can put things in there and it not scratch the surface of your sink, those need to be scrubbed as well. So right there with that same rag you've got, rinse it out again, some more soap. Go ahead and scrub the top of the sink protector, rinse it off, flip it over, more soap, scrub the back of the sink protector, rinse it off, you're good to go. Also, good idea to throw a tablespoon of baking soda down all the drains that you have. If you've got a garbage disposal, go ahead and cold water, run that one through. Same thing there. Don't put water after you've done your baking soda. Throw it in there, kind of let it sit in there overnight, and in the morning just kind of rinse them out, and that kind of keeps it smelling fresh. Baking soda is a natural deodorizer. Super low chemical, doesn't produce a lot of smell. I have accidentally smoked some up in my face and tasted it. Not great, but you can cook with it. It's not going to hurt you. And so that is a good thing to do on a daily basis to keep it kind of clean and tidy. Eventually, it's going to need a deeper clean than that. It will help if you don't put oils down your drain. So if you didn't know this, you're actually not supposed to put oils down the sink drain. You're not supposed to put oils down any drain because oils clog plumbing. So if you are, getting rid of old fry oil that you fried chicken in, if you are dumping out grease from having grilled hamburgers or steaks or hot dogs on your grill and you want to dump it down, you can't put that in the sink. That goes outside or in the garbage can. So that is the one place where I will say definitely use garbage here. It will clog your sink over time. It doesn't happen immediately, but it will coat the sides. It does not leave, it stays, and it will trap residue. It'll trap bacteria, pathogens, germs, and they will generate stinky smelling chemicals and your sinks will smell. They're very hard to get rid of once you've gotten them there. They can be gotten rid of, but you are going to need some pretty strong chemicals to do it. You will need sodium hydroxide, Drano. Pretty harsh stuff. It's not toxic, but it is harsh stuff. It'll eat through a wall if it's concentrated. So you're going to need something tough to act on that. Save yourself the trouble. Don't put oils down the sink. So when you then are doing your regular weekly sink cleaning, I would strongly recommend that you either do some vinegar down the sink and don't dilute it. Just dump some vinegar down the sink and let that sit for a little while. It is going to stink. Give it a good 30 minutes to kind of just let that sit in there. Follow it up with some really hot, almost boiling water. I have stainless steel sinks, so I actually literally use boiling water. So just take a small pot, boil some water, and dump it right down them. If you have a different material, check and see what its heat tolerance is. You may want to let it cool off for a few minutes first and then dump it down. You can also then, if it still smells, put baking soda. Baking soda reacts with vinegar. It'll neutralize it and get rid of the smell really fast. So sometimes pregnant and nauseated, that's not a good combination to have to smell vinegar for very long. Baking soda eliminates it almost instantly. And then you can just rinse that down the sink as well. So weekly we should be keeping the kitchen sink clean. That way we don't have a buildup issue later that someone else, because we're incapacitated perhaps, is having to deal with. And so that is also something that's really easy that anybody can do it. Just say, hey, go put a half cup of vinegar down each sink. Anybody can do that. A kid can do that. Go put a tablespoon of baking soda down each sink. That's something that's not super complicated. They don't have to get any special chemicals. It's just stuff that you regularly have, hopefully, in your kitchen. If not, today's to-do list, go buy baking soda and vinegar. You need these things. Last, your dishwasher also needs sanitized and cleaned, totally taken apart and scrubbed down and cleaned every week. Now, in my house, where it's really humid in the warm season, so pretty much March through November, maybe March through October, but we'll see. It just depends on the year. March through November, it is so humid, and because we use it twice a day daily, my dishwasher gets sanitized and cleaned twice a week. So middle of the week, end of the week, it gets done. You probably can get by with once a week. That is actually the dishwasher company's recommendation, is that you do it weekly. Most people don't do it at all because they don't know they're supposed to. So you may need to pull out a manual. You may need to go on the internet and search. Your dishwasher actually comes apart. You should be able to completely remove from the dishwasher both the top and the bottom rack. They completely come out. Like I can take it out, put it in the backyard, and hose it off. It's not how I clean it, but they should come out. And there should also be, usually on the bottom, a grate that comes out and a filter that twists and pulls out. So those at minimum need to come out. You do need to check your dishwasher's manual for this because some of them have additional parts that are supposed to be regularly removed and cleaned. When you remove it for cleaning, you're going to just have hot soapy water, Dawn dish soap, a true detergent, not Castile soap. A true detergent is best for this. And we're going to scrub, 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 scrub everything. The wheels on the carts, we're going to scrub, scrub, scrub the racks, scrub the filters, scrub the mesh grates, everything gets scrubbed. Then you're going to need a dedicated toothbrush for cleaning your dishwasher. I like to pick one that's either a really ugly color that nobody liked, or it's a bristles type that everybody hates, or put masking tape on the bottom of it so they know and don't accidentally use it. I store it in the sink underneath the cabinet there, the cabinet that's right beneath your sink, so that everybody knows that's not a toothbrush for using, that's mom's cleaning toothbrush. And same thing, really hot soapy water, and you're going to go all around the rubber gasket that surrounds the outside of your dishwasher, where the door opens and closes, keeps the water from coming out into your kitchen. You're also going to make sure you get all around all the details of the actual spinners that shoot the water, top and bottom rack, and the actual drain itself. Scrub, scrub, scrub all of that really well. You're going to dump some hot soapy water into the bottom of your dishwasher, close it, and click the drain button so that it kind of pulls that through and cleans out those pipes. Make sure there's no trapped food particles in that water that often sits in the bottom of the dishwasher so that it stays sanitary during the day. If, for some reason, your dishwasher has grown mold, what that means is you aren't cleaning it often enough. It does not happen unless you've been derelict in your cleaning duties. Unfortunate experience here. So that means if you've been cleaning it weekly and you still got mold, you got to clean it every 3 days. That's how it's going to be. Or maybe you aren't rinsing the food or raking the food off of your dishes first, and that's causing food growth. Or maybe you're not running it, you're letting dirty dishes sit in there for 3 or 4 days before you run it, right? Lots of possibilities here, but generally speaking, it's a cleaning thing. You can, if your dishwasher is all plastic, run bleach through it if it got really bad. So you literally just take a glass, maybe a coffee mug, put like a cup of bleach in it, stick it in there, run it on the hottest cycle it's got, and it will clean it through. It is bleach. It is going to smell. It does make fumes, but it absolutely kills mold and you'll never have a problem with it again. And then you can move on with a better future in cleaning. Generally speaking, best practice is to buy the dishwasher sanitizing tablets or powders. And that is because they're formulated to be compatible with any material the dishwasher itself is made of. If you use bleach in the dishwasher over and over and over and over and over again, it will wear down all of the rubberized materials and gaskets, and you will have to replace your dishwasher. Same goes with vinegar. I know it's really popular, especially in non-toxic circles. While you can use vinegar in your dishwasher if you really hate doing bleach, it does not kill mold anywhere near as well as vinegar or bleach does. But you can use it. Again, it does the same thing. Over time, the acidity of the vinegar will actually eat through all of the rubberized gaskets and seals. It will start to leak and you will need a new dishwasher. So I just warn you, the best bet is just a soap and water cleaning, being really regular and doing that once a week, maybe every 3 to 4 days, depending on your environment and the season of the year. And that will help kind of keep all of that at bay so that your dishwasher stays nice and clean. Make sure you're not neglecting with that toothbrush areas like around the soap dispenser and where the door closes, the very bottom underneath it, kind of get in there. They're hard areas to see, but they're really common places for food and pathogens to kind of get trapped and hang out and try to grow. So as we close today, let's talk about if I'm in survival mode. That's a lot of things that we should be doing to keep the dishes and the dishwasher and the sink running in my household. I have the stomach virus. I can't do all that. What do we do? Okay. In that event, you're still having to use dishes, although you aren't using them perhaps. The others in your household are. They still can rake the food off and they themselves can put the things in the dishwasher. Somebody's got to run the dishwasher. Maybe you crawl to the dishwasher, you put the dishwasher detergent in there, you close it, you click run, you walk away. When it's done, somebody opens it to let it air dry. In survival mode, the dishes are just fine in the open dishwasher. They can stay there. And when they need them the next day, hey, bonus for the little kids. They don't have to ask somebody to get it down out of the cabinet. The dishwasher's right there. They can reach it themselves. So they can grab things out. That way, you eliminate a lot of extra steps. You're not actually even using your sink, so you don't have to worry as much about sanitizing and cleaning it and all of those things. As long as there's not a sink full of dirty dishes, everybody's got access to clean dishes and enough clean dishes to use. The household keeps running even if mom is down for the count. So those are some things that you can think about as we consider how to keep our house clean and tidy so that we can serve our families well and glorify the Lord. Until next time.